So now we have Glauco and Veronika are the Glauco and Veronika are the responsible of folklore movement in Southeast Asia zone. So we'll wonder if you could tell us about your experience when you were Jen, please.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Ciao.
Yes, you know that once upon a time, we too were Jen like you,
Yeah.
many years ago. So we want to share our experiences when we were Jen. That is, let's say, more than 5 years ago, a bit more. So I will share the screen just to show you where I come from. Do you know this continent? This is Europe, no? And this is Italy. This is my country. And in this part of country, not in the northeast, it's where I was born. It's my village. And this is a picture of my village. It's in the countryside, very small village. And this is taken from the tower of the tower clock. And this one is the house where I grew up. Precisely this. Okay. So just to let you know the environment where I come from. So I got to know the idea through a trip to Lopiano. Lopiano in Italy is the first of the little towns of the movement. Also here in Asia, we have one in the Philippines, in Tagaytay. Maybe some of you have heard of it. So I was 19 years old. I had received a Catholic education, but I lived my faith only within my heart. I didn't talk about my faith with my friends and my schoolmates. It was something just mine. When I went to Lopiano, two things struck me very, 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 very strong. The first, the relationship among the people, very strong, very profound. I could see unity among them. It was that kind of relationship I have always looked for with my friends, but that I wasn't able to live until that moment. And second, I saw in Lopiano a model of a beautiful society. Beautiful because there were neither poor people nor rich people, because they all were sharing what they had. So this trip, it was a great light for me. And coming back home, I thought, I do not want to leave these new friends for any reason. I remember, I learned a sentence, love and you will understand. So I tried to put it into practice immediately. And there were many occasions, starting with my family. Few times after this trip to Lopiano, my father died. And as you can imagine, it was a very difficult moment for me, for my younger sister, and for my mother. But only thinking of what I had experienced in Lopiano gave me the strength to go ahead and face all the difficulties. For example, my sister was suffering so much, and often I had to be very patient with her, because sometimes she got angry with me and my mom for small reasons. Then I found a job in a bank, and also there were many possibilities to love, especially try to accept and welcome every colleague as he or she was. For example, there was a lady who was always so serious and with a bad character. Almost everyone would try to avoid her. She only got along with only one colleague. I thought, if this ideal that I learned in Lopiano, if this ideal would work with this person, so it means it's really true. Because really she was a difficult person. So I tried to care about her, to listen to her, and to deal gently with her, even when she was in a bad mood. At a certain point, after some days, she smiled to me, and this filled me with joy. One day she even invited me for a coffee. So far she did it only with her friend colleague. To laugh also meant sometimes to let what I was doing and help some colleague, for example, to look for an error in a long list of pages and pages. Or at the end of our work time, to accompany another colleague to see together the motorcycle he wanted to buy. With the youth of the movement, we met very often, and our desire was to do something to bring unity in our environment. At a certain point, we set up a small theater group. You see, this is when I was acting in a comedy, in a sort of comedy. And so through our little show, we were able to go to parishes, to cultural centers, and talk about the ideal. In our region, there were 3 ethnic groups with different languages and characteristics. And in the past, there were also some tensions. So we had the idea to do something to promote mutual understanding and comprehension, and to foster, to appreciate one another's culture. So I also learned a typical dance of my own ethnic group, and we performed it in many places. This is our ethnic costumes. This is me some years ago, more than 5 years ago. So as we were ready with some artistic presentations, we used them in order also to raise funds for the needy. For example, when some natural disaster happened. At that time, there was a big volcano eruption in Mexico, in America, and in these pictures I just sent to you, we are in a public square to raise funds. All these beautiful activities and commitments for those in need were filling my days, but I was also feeling the need for something more. I want to discover what was behind all our activities, what animates these activities, and give them meaning. So at a certain point, it was important for me to join a little group to deepen my knowledge of the spirituality of the movement. We were a small group. We met every Friday night. For me, it was a very important moment. I was waiting all the working week for that moment, because besides learning something of the spirituality, we were also trying to put it immediately into practice. We would share our experiences living the word of life, but also our material things. And we shared also our little money to send it to the other Gen boys and girls all over the world. So this life filled me with joy. And life became to be very meaningful. even among the normal life struggles, of course, and I have never stopped to live like this. At a certain point, I felt in my heart the call to follow God totally, to be at His disposal, to bring the ideal of unity all over the world. And so I entered Focolare. After some years spent in Italy, I came to live here in Southeast Asia, and in these 4 years and a half I have been living here, I had the joy to meet many of you and to walk together in this journey. Thank you.
So many of you know already that I am Veronika, and with many of you we are already friends. But I want to greet in a special way all who are for the first time connected with us today. So a special greeting to all of you. So also I will tell you a little bit about my Gen life. And I got to know the Gen life when I was only 14 years old, so very young. And I will tell you together with some pictures. Now we go to Germany. Germany is my home country. And I come from a very small village of only 15 houses. I got to know the movement from my parish priest, who was a teacher of catechism at my school. My family was Catholic, and every Sunday we went to Mass. But in everyday life, it was difficult to live our faith. We were a lively and a big family. We laughed a lot, but we were also fighting a lot. I was very sensitive, and sometimes I ran away to go to the woods, looking for peace in nature and with the animals in the forest. I was running away from home. I liked the gospel very much, but seeing the life of my family, I always thought that it is not possible to live it. Too difficult. But having met people who told us the gospel experiences and that we can live them attracted me a lot. And I didn't want to lose this joy that I had experienced in the meetings of the movement with the parish priest. I was part of a group of young people, and we were great friends. Often we met as a group in the parish to share how we tried to live our faith at school and in the family. And then we went also out together, we had fun with dancing, singing. But on a certain point, I remember that we wanted to do something for our elderly parish members. So we went to look for them and went to visit them in their homes, in the villages. With great joy, we prepared Christmas gifts for them. We sang songs for them. And I remember during the year, we split up and we went in small groups to the hospitals. Asked, who is alone in this hospital? Who does not receive visits? I remember very well the elderly lady where I was entrusted. For her, I had become like a daughter. I was helping her shopping, cleaning the house and her garden, or simply I was listening to her life stories. I experienced that if I love Jesus in this old woman, Jesus answers me and gave me so much joy in my heart. When she got sick more seriously, she gave me her car, saying, I don't need it anymore, but you do, so you can go and find other people who are alone like me. In this period, I lived with other Gen in a Gen house, and I remember our great happiness and joy to receive a car. since I began to live the gospel, I really tell you, I never experienced boring moments like before, no? But because I learned that Jesus invites us always to love, even when I did not want. And I had some sad moments to cry or the desire to run away. But Jesus became an active part of my life. With the Gen and the Focolare, I shared often my difficulties because it helped me and it gave me courage to start again living the gospel. Together with the other Gen, we did many things. For example, in Germany, in my time, it was a very great fashion among young people to do things for ecology. So we went out and looking for rubbish, for things that other people throw away, and we used it. Or we did not use plastic, we only eat healthy things, we planted flowers, salad, vegetables, and we sold all these things on the weekends in the city center with a trolley. Or we made biscuits and sweets, and then packing with beautiful phrases from Chiara or from saints or from the gospel, and we sold all these things to people on the street. I remember it was not just to earn money for the poor people, but we wanted to make people know and teach them to have a healthy life, a life that lives for peace, that lives to love. Alone, I was very shy. And maybe I wouldn't have done many things. But together, we were strong, full of joy and energy to live the gospel. With courage, we wanted to be leaders in our world. And we loved to do things different from other people. To go against the current was our slogan and our, like, a leading motive. Although sometimes I cried because it was so difficult at school or at work. But I have always experienced that Jesus was with me, and Chiara gave me the strength to start again. I remember once in the nursing school, the whole class mocked me and made fun of me because I had said something I liked about the life of the Pope. But in the midst of the bullying of my companions who were against the Pope, a boy came to me and told me that he too thought like me. And just he didn't have the courage to say it in front of the class. After a while, he too became a Gen and is in the movement till today. I didn't want to have a boring life. It wasn't enough for me to just look at fashion things or singers, film stars like my classmates at school. I liked a radical life, to live for something great. That's why I wanted to be a Gen. Then Jesus called me to follow him, and I entered the Focolare. But for me, to be a Papa is to go on, to live my Gen life, to live a life that always aims high. As Chiara said to the Gen, you have only one life, spend it well. And you cannot imagine how often I really experienced in my life the hundredfold that Jesus promises us in the gospel. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, anyone have a question? You can.
You did not see the photos?
No, not yet.
Can you share them again, Veronika and Glauco?
Just we can share a moment the photos, only the
Yes,
photos?
yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you so much.
Have you seen Glauco's photos?
Not yet. Now, yes.
This one is.
Now we can see.
Now we can see.
Before.
Ini aku rasa Veronica.
Others, yes.
You didn't see the photos before.
This one, yes. Yours, yes.
The
one
photo
that
of Glauco, yes.
Ah, the ones from Veronica. Sorry, huh?
Oh, so I show you now my village. Now can you see?
Yeah.
So this is my village in Germany.
So beautiful.
I want to go.
This is my small, tiny German village. This is my home in Germany. This is my noisy family where we
Yeah.
were laughing a lot and fighting a lot. Then this is the forest where I was running away sometimes from home because it was very noisy at home. So, and then I felt that I wanted to live the gospel, and then this was my group
Dia berbicara.
where we shared our gospel life to do things together. Then we were singing and dancing together with typical dresses. Then we went to visit elderly people, also in the hospitals or for Christmas. And this old lady, I was helping her to garden work, housework. And when she was very sick, she gave me her car. This car. So with all the gen, we were very happy that we got a car.
Oh, nice car.
And then I was in a gen house. And then I really experienced to live for the others. Then we live very much for the ecological things, to do things what other people throw away in the garbage. And we made beautiful things to sell on the streets. But not only to sell, to collect money for poor, but we also wanted to give the people the beautiful life of the gospel.
Oh, nampak Dutch-nya kalau orang apa bang?
So, and
German Dutch.
go against the current. Only God gave us strength. And Chiara gave us always the motto not to point high. This is my experience with the Pope when they were bullying me. But one boy came to me after, in the end of my classroom, and told me, he was thinking like me, but he had no courage to speak in front of the class. But he also became a Gen. Then, and this is the last picture, to live for something great in our life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So